Harry Horton joins us live from Washington, D.C. Harry, good to see you. Now, he's done it. He has fulfilled one of his key campaign policies despite all the pleas from his European allies. What is the U.S. plan now? What does the day after look like?
Well, it's hard to say, and that's been one of the criticisms that the US has faced so far, that they don't really have a plan B following their withdrawal from this nuclear agreement. They have said that they will work with their European allies to keep up pressure on Iran. Donald Trump warned that Iran would face severe consequences should they try and restart their nuclear program. But the Trump administration has also said that they've got no plans at the moment to put US troops on the ground in Iran. So it doesn't seem as though there's any sort of military campaign imminent. They've also said that they're ready to negotiate with Iran if they're willing to come back to the table on terms more favourable to the US. I don't think anybody realistically thinks that's a possibility. And then for US relations with Europe, Europe have been shunned yet again in the US withdrawing from this nuclear agreement. It's fair to say, I think, that this withdrawal was more harsh than many European nations were expecting. Extremely tough sanctions threatened by the United States on European companies should they try and do any sort of business with Iran. And once again, you know, we saw it with trade, we've seen it with climate change, and now with the Iran nuclear deal, Europe and the United States on very different pages here. So real question marks about what sort of relationships we might see between the Trump administration and European countries going forward.
And Harry, let's talk about negotiations with North Korea. Where do they stand now? We know that Mike Pompeo is there ahead of Trump's summit with Kim Jong-un. Has US credibility been completely destroyed now? And how can Kim Jong-un trust President Trump?
Well, Donald Trump has made the gamble, really, that he thinks that the US will now be in a stronger position following their withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal. They think they can show that they mean business when they make threats, when they make promises. They intend to stick to their word. They think they've outlined the framework of what they say is a real deal to negotiate with Iran without any of these sort of sunset clauses that expire after a certain period of time. Mike Pompeo is, of course, in North Korea as we speak. He is laying the groundwork for some sort of nuclear deal that might be negotiated when Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un meet, and then over the months following that period of time. But you do have to wonder how Kim Jong-un, I'm sure he will have been watching events in Washington unfold over the Iran nuclear deal, and he might just be thinking, what sort of administration in the United States is he entering negotiations with, and what sort of deal might he well end up with this US administration leading the negotiations?
Absolutely. Harry, thank you so much for that. That was Harry Horton with the perspective from Washington, D.C.